let's talk about core shot repairs here.
Yeah, dude, for sure. This is, always like early season people, they like unwrap the brand new board from Christmas, go take it out and just smoke a rock or something and think their board's ruined, but it's actually super easy to repair. And we'll talk like two different types of base repairs. There's like your classic, just like gouge in the P-Tex or scratch in the P-Tex. And then there's like a core shot where you actually rip away the base material and you actually hit the core of the board and like the core is exposed. So they're both super easy to fix. With just like your standard scratch or gouge in the base, that's a little bit easier to fix. All you need to get is one of those P-Tex candles. You can get them from pretty much any shop out there. And the big thing with that is when you're fixing your board, so you want to cut out any of the loose base material with a razor blade. So get it all cleaned up nice. And then when you go ahead and light the P-Tex candle, I think most people think they just like drip the P-Tex into the scratch. And you kind of see that little like ball of plastic fire dripping into the board. And that's actually not what you want to do when you're fixing the board. That makes it so the P-Tex is way more likely to crack and it's not going to bond as well to the base material. So a little pro tip with that is if you get a metal scraper, light up your P-Tex candle, get it hot where it's starting to drip, and then you bring it down close to the metal scraper. So it's only like maybe a half inch or a centimeter off of the scraper. It'll start to, the flame will turn blue and you'll start to see like a little river of P-Tex melting off the candle onto the scraper. And then once that happens, you can move it over onto the base of your board and start filling in the gouge. And that way you're getting the plastic super hot. So it actually will melt the base material and let the P-Tex bond to it. So I'll make a little video and I'll have Silk toss it up on the screen. So that kind of makes a little bit more sense.
You got it.
But that's yeah. You know what's up. But that's definitely like the proper way to P-Tex. And then you can take a razor blade and just hold it vertically on the base and then rub it back and forth across where you P-Tex once it cools. And you can just scrape it right away like that. So you don't need a full base grind if you're just doing a couple little P-Tex spots. But if you're riding the board a bunch early season and you're getting a ton of gouges throughout the whole thing from rocks, but nothing's hitting the core, you can just go ahead and rip a base grind and freshen that thing up, get a little, maybe some structure added in there. I know Ryan talked about that on the last episode, freshen the board up for the rest of the season. That's super easy to do.
And is that a base weld or is that a...
So that's just like standard P-Tex. And then, so if you get an actual core shot in your board where the core is exposed, that's when you'll use a material called metal grip. And that's what a base weld is. And you do that a little bit differently. So you can buy the metal grip. It looks super similar to P-Tex, but you just do it in a little bit of a different way where you'll still clean up the area, like cut out any of the loose P-Tex with a razor blade. And then you can take a little sandpaper and sand out the area where you're going to do the base weld. And that'll just help the metal grip bond better. And you can pretty much just cut a little chunk of that material off and lay it in where your big gouge is, the core shot. And you can take a lighter or a torch and start heating it up to where it starts melting. And then take your flat metal scraper. And once it's super melted, you basically smash it into the board. And so it creates this like big glob. And that's going to seal up the core, bond to the wood, base material, everything, get it all cleaned up. And then once that cools down, you can just take a little razor blade and cut off the excess. And then you're pretty much good to go from there. But that's the best way to do it. If you have wood exposed on the base of the board, you don't want to use just a P-Tex candle because it's not going to stick and it's just going to crack and fall out.
And if you get water in your core, you're fucked, basically, right?
Yeah, exactly. It just like, you'll get water in there. It'll freeze, expand, crack the core. and then your board will probably end up breaking after a few times of riding like that. So, I mean, you can get away with like a day where you have a big core shot, but you definitely want to dry it out as soon as you can and toss a little metal grip in there.